Well, thank you guys all for being here so much. It's great to have you all as usual. These are great Thursdays for me because I enjoy seeing everyone. And I think it's really important that we take the time to share our knowledge with each other. And if there's one group in Texas education circles that shares better than anyone else, I know for a fact that it's CTE. And I also know for a fact that that hasn't always been the case in my 35 years of doing this. And so we appreciate the way that the camaraderie and the sharing has come about. And that's all because of you guys. Thank you very much. I learned that, Jason, I learned that at the Elvis tribute show. That thank you very much. So we can roll on here. This is the CTAT Professional Roundtable. Making sure I'm recording. So anyway, this is the CTAT Professional Roundtable, June 6, 2024. I hope you guys had a good end to school and that you were able to take a couple of days to kind of pause a little bit before the first roundtable. And thank you all for being here and being able to share with each other. As always, these roundtables are Zoom-based sessions and posted on public media platforms such as YouTube. If you do not wish to have your picture displayed to public view, make sure that you participate with your video turned off. Otherwise, your participation serves as consent to your picture being posted. So roundtables are always fantastic. And we would like to introduce Chelsea Reeves to the CTAT training and technical assistance to the CTAT team. Chelsea, welcome. It's fantastic to have you. Chelsea comes to us. She's been at Region 11. And as you can see there, she has a ton of experience in her career. And of course, I'm just going to back up. And Chelsea, if you don't mind, would you hop on here and say a few words?
Hey team, thank you so much, Mark. It has been a joy and a blessing to get to join the CTAT team, and I'm super excited for the work ahead to connect with all of you. Of course, it is very bittersweet to leave my North Central Texas folks at ESC Region 11 and all of the LEAs that we served. And Lisa Harrison is amazing, but super excited for this next step with all of you. I would tell ESC Region 11 folks all the time that it was truly my joy and my job to serve and support them. And so that is my message to you all in the great state of Texas, is that it is truly my joy and my job to serve and support you. Please reach out if I can ever be of assistance. And I look forward to the future ahead with each and every one of you. Thank you.
Well, we truly hate to break up that team of Chelsea and Lisa because it is phenomenal. And thank you guys for all the work that you did at Region 11. But we couldn't be more excited to have you, Chelsea, and welcome aboard. And thank you very much for being willing to join us. This is where you say something nice about me.
It is my greatest honor to walk alongside Mark Boshier in fellowship and leadership and keep him in line sometimes, or try. But I'm super excited to get to walk alongside this journey with him. Mark, you are an incredible human being and very humble too. I don't know how you do it.
All right. Thank you for muting back there, Robin. So as we move through here, as you can see, Chelsea has better forwarding skills than I do, but she has a lot of experience. As you see, she's got a BA in fashion merchandising. And so I may have to be giving up some of my fashion tips, Paul. If we have somebody that's a little more knowledgeable on fashion, I'm all for it. So as we move through, of course, this is actually the last session of our season 4 roundtable. And we will go into the season 5 starting in August, but I think it's been a great year. The roundtable, I think, come apart because the board wanted to have COVID updates, and then it just turned into such a great experience that we really appreciate it. I told you last week that I went into the barber shop and I asked for them to give me the berry gib. Instead, they gave me the robin, And I looked this morning, and I think it's turning into the Maurice. As my hair grows back, the hairline's receding, so I don't necessarily like that. But June is here, whether you want it or not. The cold weather leaves and the hot weather comes in, and so we're excited to have June. This is our first month without students, and it's a time for us to pause and reflect and to improve our programs. And I think June and July are exciting times in career and technical education. June 6th, this week was the Battle of Midway. As you know, in World War II, that's kind of where the tide turned in the Pacific. And so the war could have really went differently if the Battle of Midway hadn't happened. And so we appreciate all of our veterans, especially those as we just went past Memorial Day, a great Battle of Midway. Also, June 6th is the day we lost Billy Preston, who often was called the fifth Beatle because he played the organ on the Get Back sessions. If you remember that, the song Get Back, that's not Paul McCartney playing, that's Billy Preston, who's actually there. And so for those of you that are Beatle fans, you know him really well. This one of my favorite memes is that moment a June bug flies in your direction. Of course, that little girl does not like that, and she's heading the other way. And Dennis the Menace always has a positive outlook on life, and whether or not he does or not, he's hoping to have a very good month of June. And then I know many of you work from home during the summer, and uh, Rick Bowe sent this picture of me. He's working this summer, and he's using his laptop. He never takes a break, even when he's in the pool. And so we also like to thank ICV for being able to sponsor these roundtables and all of the work that they do for the conference. And it's all about working together and the fantastic opportunities that we have to share as CTE professionals. All right, knowledge is on the way. That's what Neil deGrasse Tyson always says. Brace yourself. We'd like to thank the board of directors for CTAT for providing the guidance that comes in. And it's always the CTAT board along with the area presidents. That's where we reach out and we get most of our guidance from and programming and what the conference looks like and what the regional trainings look like. And we couldn't function without these two groups. Thank you to the CTAT board and the area presidents. For those of you, if this is your first roundtable, there's a lot of programming that CTAT does, and we have the new Next Gen Administrator sessions starting in September, and that's for people generally with less than 5 years experience. We establish a cohort of about 50 new or less experienced, usually under 5 years, but it doesn't have to be. You could have more than 5 years and still join. But the Next Gen Administrators, we're excited about our new cohort number 5 that's coming up. That's hard to believe, Robin, that this is going to be the 5th cohort of Next Gen Administrators, but we're super excited for those guys. Of course, we do these monthly roundtables, the professional conferences that we do, of course, in the winter and the summer. Also, our regional outreach trainings, we're super excited about having those. And it gives us a chance to go to the members where they need the training, and we can go to one area and reach some teachers from 5 or so regions, and then they don't have to take a week out of school just to come to a new teacher training from CTAT. In-district professional development, of course, we'll come to your district and do professional development. We have 4 or 5 already scheduled for the fall and the summer, and we love doing those. And we just got back from South Texas. Dr. Ayers and Dr. Walls went and presented at South Texas ISD and did a fabulous job, and they all loved those. And I think everyone walked away with stuff they can use. And also, if you need a district program evaluation, we already have some on the calendar for the fall, so make sure that you send me an email at mark@ctat.org if you want a district program evaluation, and we'll get you on the calendar. We just met with the Legislative Task Force, and they're establishing a set of priorities, and we went through the priorities that were from the previous legislative session, and we kept the ones that we wanted to go forward with again, and we actually took some off that we didn't think would be addressed by the legislative body or could be taken up with another group such as the SBOE or SBEC. And so that policy task force, we appreciate the work that those guys are doing, and we'll have some draft policies for you to look at probably within the month by the 1st of August. And then the legislative session will start, and we'll get those to Marty, and Marty will try to take our policy priorities and get those turned into bills that hopefully pass. And of course, there's one thing about policy priorities. We can do all the planning in the world, and then the first day that the session starts, some bill pops up that impacts CTE funding, and of course, all bets are off, and we have to deal with that. But anyway, we appreciate the task force and the work that you're doing, and we think it's good, solid work. Talking about the regional outreach trainings, there's two that I really want to mention because I think that they're going to be fantastic in addition to the other ones we're doing. But of course, this was a collaborative impact with the area presidents and the board of directors. And so we have Campus CTE Coach and the CTSO Summit. And the Campus CTE Coach is going to make a readily available person on your campus that is going to be able to answer basic CTE questions to new and inexperienced teachers. And this is why I always tell folks is that is a new or inexperienced teacher going to call CTAT? No. Are they probably going to call the service center? We would hope so, but they probably don't. Are they going to call the district CTE office? We would certainly hope so, but they probably won't. The most likely thing that they're going to do is walk down to the end of the hall and ask a fellow teacher. And so we want that teacher trained, and that's what a campus CTE coach is. We want a campus CTE coach trained by CTAT on every single campus, secondary campus in the state. And this is going to have the side benefit of not only providing a readily available resource, but also creating an advocate for CTE in every high school campus in the state. And they'll expand the footprint of CTE across the state. We're going to market this with the superintendents, however we can get a CTE campus coach trained. We're going to try to do that because we think that this could really be a huge benefit to inexperienced teachers and students. And then the first ever CTSO Summit is going to be the first week in November in Pflugerville. Angie has got all that finalized, and this is going to be all CTSO groups are going to come. If you want to learn more about CTSOs, if you want your superintendent to learn more about CTSOs, if you want a new teacher or an experienced teacher that hasn't had a CTSO to come learn about CTSOs, this is the place to make it happen. You're going to get to see and hear from all of the CTSO groups at once. You're going to be able to network with other districts. You're going to see what a good program looks like. And we just think this is going to be a terrific event that we're going to be more excited about, and all part of the regional outreach programs.
So, Mark, tell me again what that date was.
The first week in November.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, got it. I had a big slide here, and this is blank. I just want to tease this a little bit. We're going to roll out a district of distinction for career and technical education as identified by CTAT beginning this summer. We're going to do the pilot program at the conference this summer, and you'll get to hear more about it. And then in the fall, you will be able to apply to become a district of distinction as a for CTE in your district. And of course, we're excited about this. This will give you an opportunity to be recognized for your hard work in CTE, get your picture made with the superintendent and the school board president, and get that recognition that you so earnestly earned and you need, and that is required in your district. So this is a little tease and a little preview, and more to come at the state conference. We're excited about this. Also, there's in the coming months, we'll be able to talk to you. You can also apply for a program of distinction, which is going to be a different process, but the district of distinction will be rolled out at summer conference. Little tease there, a little preview. Speaking of summer conference, it's not too late to register. We had about 40 register this week, and it's going to be the ultimate experience in Fort Worth, vibrant Fort Worth. You can go on there and register now. This is going to be a unique conference to attend because TIVA is going to be at the same event And this only happens about every time the moon turns blue. And it's happened before, but not very often. And it's going to be a great conference. There's going to be vendors there that will support CTAT, all CTE, and plus TIVA specifically. So we're excited to be there with TIVA. We're going to see their award winners. We're going to share a common opening session, and we're just couldn't be more excited. If you've never been to a summer conference, this may be the best one to go to. This is the 25th anniversary, and we're going to have a special celebration down in the stockyard. Tally Joe has got it all ringed up, and she's got it wheels off. She said, no expense spared, and fun will be had by all, we promise. Also, if you have a forensic science teacher, then we were really targeting forensic science teachers this year at the conference. We have a special pre-conference session for forensic science teachers that's being put on by the Texas Engineering Extension Service, and also teachers and students can earn a forensic science certification through those guys too, if you so desire. But we're enthused and ready to go and try to support those forensic science teachers. Also, as usual, this is our second year in a row for providing special support to the business, marketing, and finance. If you have a new business, marketing, and finance, they can come there and they can learn about BPA. They can get some best lessons. I think that this is going to be, they can learn about vendor specific, they can learn IBC. This is going to be a great conference if you have a business, marketing, finance teacher, for them to kind of make it their first one. If you haven't registered for ACTE's Vision 24 in San Antonio, December 4th through the 7th, make sure that you do. There's going to be a big gala. We'll all be there, and I'm sure that we will either formally or informally host something for CTAT. It's just a great opportunity to get together and see what folks across the nation are doing, and you don't have to leave the state to go there. It's going to be at San Antonio, December 4th through the 7th. You can register for any of these events that we just talked about by going to the CTAT.org website and going to events and scrolling down and picking which one you want to come to and register. Also, don't forget about the curriculum resource library. If you have teachers that are up there on summer doing curriculum writing, we encourage you to invite those teachers to upload the lesson plans that they are developing as part of their curriculum writing process into the shared resource library. And it's you guys that are driving this process, and everything we get in there is going to make it easier on someone else. So share and use in this collaborative, innovative resource library. Breaking news, the college and the CCMR Readiness Outcomes Bonus file is now, a new early counts file is available. And of course, all of these that you can find in the CTAT chat that was sent out at the June 1st. This is just kind of going over that. The CLNA is now available, and it will close on June 12th. So make sure that you get that in and get it submitted so you can go on with the rest of your grant application. Don't forget also that there is a CLNA guidebook on the TEA website that gives you a pretty good walkthrough on how to put that information in. A great resource from our friends at the Texas Education Agency. The JET application window is now closed, but we'll announce that again as it comes around. Chelsea, do you mind talking about the CCMR verifier real quick?
Sure thing. So the 2024 CCMR verifier is now available. This launched, I believe, on Monday, last week. It's available until June 21st. So this provides you with an opportunity to verify your accuracy. And this is the one where you actually go in, review, and if there's any local documentation that you have on file, you can submit that as evidence. So be looking for that opportunity. Make sure you have access to TEAL and accountability, and make sure that you're reviewing your internal records aligned to the verifier. And then finally upload that official data and documentation so that way you can get the correct CCMR information and boost that letter grade.
And Chelsea, like 5 or 6 kids can make a huge difference here. that can move your accountability a point. Could be the difference in being a C and a B or being an A.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you, Chelsea. Also, you know that the refresh for the programs of study has been completed, and that's on the TEA website. Updated cycles, next year will be the last year that they can update a program of study or add an IBC. And then after that, it's going to be 5 years. So the good news is that that's going to follow a cohort all the way through graduation. The bad news is that there's going to be IBCs come up that we want to provide to students that aren't going to be on the list because it's not changing. We are talking about the legislative task force brought that up, and so we are going to look at ways possibly to have it to where an IBC could just be added and then none would be removed for a cohort. Might be a good compromise on that if the folks in IBC approval department there at TEA would be willing to listen to that. Just talked about that. Don't forget your CLNA due June 12th. And of course, you got to fill out the applicant designation form before you can get to that. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of follow-up. We talked about undistributed funds and those PIC 99 funds and how some districts are using that to tear into your PIC 22 or your PIC or your 55%. And Chelsea and I met with Becky Estrada. I met with her a couple times, and then Chelsea joined in again. And this is basically the formula that they're using to steal those undistributed funds. And so this is the expenditures actually coded to PIC 22. Then they use this formula to take part of your FTEs or based on part of the number of teachers you have added to the number of SSA districts that are coded, and then they're saying that they can add that to whatever help make up the 55%. But that's really not what that says, in my opinion. In my opinion, that applies to indirect costs. Now that's just an opinion, and Becky Estrada is scheduling a meeting with us to meet at with an auditor and to see how that actually runs. And Chelsea brought up a good point. If they're not in our meeting, she said if they're not defining maintenance of effort to be in compliance with direct costs, then how are they using this formula? And I couldn't agree more. So this issue is not done. And as a follow-up to our last May meeting, we are following up with this, but it's there's nothing that says they can absolutely use this to count as part of your direct allotment. I would say that it even applies only to your indirect allotment, but anyway, that's just the way I'm reading it, and that doesn't make it law. So anyway, for you guys that are having some of your money taken out with undistributed funds, we're working on that, and we'll have a solution for it as soon as we can get one. We did the CTAT chat also had focused on Grand Prairie. Aniska Douglas, who is one of our outstanding members, and they had a great news program on CBS News here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Congratulations to Aniska Douglas and the Grand Prairie ISD CTE programs. Fantastic work there. And also this week in the CTAT chat, we spotlighted Michael Chapman, Kelly Jo Morris over at the ESC9 for the great programming that they're doing and the great way to professional growth, and specifically the CTE Ed Camp that they're hosting this summer. Thank you, Michael and Kelly Jo, for all the great work that you do at ESC9. So in saying all that, I'm sorry that probably took a little bit longer than usual. So I'm going to stop sharing and go back into gallery mode and see what's on the group's mind. Any thoughts, comments? Lisa,
So
you want to yell at us right now?
Susan Kirkpatrick put in the chat, has anyone heard when will the editable refreshed program of study documents be available? Last communicated to me from TEA was summer to fall, but I don't know if anyone else has a better update.
Wait, now what did she ask? I'm sorry, I didn't see.
So if anyone has heard when the editable refreshed program
Oh,
of study
gotcha.
documents will be available, the ones that you can go in and easily click through, there is a way that you can download and then use software to modify those. But as far as like the zip drive coming from TEA with the editable templates.
And we should know that those should be pretty easy to provide because it's just a matter of zipping them and putting them on there because they already have them done. Fantastic. And let's say lots of chatter in there. Anyone have any comments or questions about everyone finding a hotel okay for conference? Callie Joe, do you want to talk just a few seconds about the legislative task force? Do you mind?
Not at all. So we were able as a task force to review the many comments and reflections that were presented from CTAT. A lot of the same reflections were presented from our constituents that valued some of the main things like we all are right now. We need more money. I think that's an economy situation, but we need more money. So a lot of our legislative priorities may stay very similar to the way CTAT has presented them for the previous biennium, but we're going to tweak them to reflect things that are really relevant to some of the changes that have taken place over the last year to 2 years. We didn't really have any major hot topics that were just breaching just because we are where we are right now. But thank you to that legislative task force for being part of the team, coming with great ideas. We will meet with Marty in August. Marty is the gifted man. We're just here to be his cheerleaders. And so thank you to that team today, and we look forward to working with them.
Does anyone have any thoughts on legislative priorities that you would like to share on the roundtable since we have a little time here? David, I know you bound to want some kind of law passed.
They might have all been his reflections. I know.
Probably so.
Where's he at?
I'm still trying to get them to put in that bartending certification for our kiddos, you know.
What's the holdup on that?
I don't know. I don't know what the problem is.
So, you know, my kid owns one of those mobile bars. So even with an MBA, you can make money in that sector.
Absolutely.
My other kid's with your son. So, hey, it's the way life works here.
Poor kid. Hey, you think that vocational graduation plan is gonna come back up?
Yeah, I do. I'm glad you asked about that. So that's Representative Gates, who's down in the Lamar area, southwest Houston. If it's southeast, don't yell at me. Dr. Lazar may get on it. But anyway, in the South Houston area. And so I do think that's going to come up because we saw a funny article that was posted in a pretty obscure church magazine that addressed it completely. And we haven't put that out because it hasn't popped up anywhere else, but that 100% came from his office. So we do think that's going to come back up. And, if he reaches out to us, we would love to help him in developing something that would not only be beneficial, but would actually pass and not get the ire of every other group in Texas, because I think that there is some merit to giving a kid some more opportunities to being able to go out there and get some credit for their work experience, but not at the expense of giving up the ability to read and write. And I know that's not what he's wanting to do, but just extreme. What are your thoughts on it, David?
Well, I think, I'm for it if it's done right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on a vocational pathway when I was in high school. I mean, so I think there's room for it, but it needs to be done right. It seems like, I guess that's down, what is that, Region 4 down there, Houston area? Is there maybe somebody down there to reach out, and somebody in that area, see if he needs some help, or, if we can work with him.
Well,
David, this is Jeannie Kinnear. I'm in Region 4 and KDISD. I've met with him multiple times. He, there is no changing his mind. I would be happy, Mark, to connect you with him. He has it in his mind that all CTE people only do floral design certifications because they want bonus funding money. He reminds me consistently that he meets with Mike Morath, and Mike Morath is convinced that we're just doing floral design certifications because we want bonus funding money. But I would be happy to connect y'all, because I kept telling him, I don't think CTE would be lobbying against you. I think we could work together. So I know I couldn't change his mind. He left here acting like he heard us, and then he turned around and wrote an article that was quite negative. So, I don't know.
well, Jeannie, it's funny you said that, because the last legislative session, we met 3 different times with him. We had a preliminary meeting. Then I went down to office with MJ, and we sat in his office all day long and spent a week probably writing up some legislative alternatives. And the proposal that we're trying to get him to go with is that, so if a kid is going to graduate on the foundation high school program without an endorsement, then to have a trades option would be pretty viable, and no one would be against that, because if they don't get the trade option, then they're going to, or trades and industrial option, if they don't get that version, then they're going to graduate on the minimum, and nobody wants that. So we worked with him all day on developing language like that, and we even ran it by some of the other groups that said no, they would not oppose that, because it kept the English requirements in, just in case a kid decided that it wouldn't keep them from going to school, and it kept the basic minimum requirement. But he wants to even go below the minimum. So my point is, we met with him that day, and then in a follow-up session, and like you said, he thought he heard it, but then when it came back and got in front of the committee, it looked just like it did before. So David, I think there's room to grow on that. And Jeannie, thank you for meeting with him. But yeah, that's a big negative we got going out there, because there's a lot of people going around spreading that doing floral design just for that reason. Well, we didn't invent the system. We had a lot of ag kids at one time and no certification for them. And so kids were going in ag, going to get the floral certification because it was the only one available at the time to ag kids. And so that's the system they want. It's like they were getting mad at us for playing Monopoly by the book that they wrote. Like, we can't make house rules. It's just the rules that they developed there. So my 2 cents.
This is William from Region 4.
Hey, William. Yeah.
I've met with him as well, and I'm getting nowhere with him. He's really nice and he listens, but there's no change in his mind from me personally. So I'm with Jeannie on that one.
And I think he's really using it to justify him voting for vouchers that's kind of the take, because we actually met with him, like I said, a couple of times, and that's where he would come back as, this is why I'm supporting vouchers, so that we can have private schools for CTE that's not part of what you guys are doing.
Well, yeah. He just, I think his intention is somewhat positive in that he has but he's so frustrated with the process that's going on. You have to make those changes within the process for them to actually happen. Even if he could get some bill through the SBOE and the commissioner would take it and hack it up to where it didn't look anything like, what he wanted. So, but, so thanks for asking that, David.
And if any of you are have a good relationship with your state lawmaker, one thing we can guarantee you is that Representative Gates is calling your lawmaker and asking for their support of this bill. He will bring it back. So I think the best line of defense is to build your relationship and ask your local rep to recommend to Representative Gates that he work with stakeholders, and that CTAT is a wonderful resource and we can help craft legislation that will satisfy everyone.
And Robin, isn't it fair to say that the committee chairman, they kind of understand the problem? And so the committee chairman, they're frustrated a little bit by it too, because I think they'd be willing to help with the right type of bill too, but he's just calling up random folks and getting them to hop on. But Robin, we met with the Senate, the House Public Education Committee, and they understand that it's a bad, that not necessarily a bad idea, but a bad bill every time it comes up. What else is going on? Chelsea, anything you can think of being new to the CTAT world here as a paid employee?
Just learning and living and growing. And I know we've spent some time on camera. So if we need to pause that to share and collaborate, then maybe now's the time.
Well, not a bad thought, Chelsea. Is there anything anyone else has for the group that you think would benefit someone from watching on YouTube?
Hey, well, I do have a question about reimbursements for certifications with site licenses, but we can do that on or off. I don't care.
Yeah, and Ashley, that's a question that always comes up. Are you familiar with that FAQ?
Yeah, Danielle got it for me. She's been the one trying to get certifications reported. I just remember in the past with site licenses, before there was really more, I guess, guidance. It was kind of a, hey, figure it out the right way and just get it done. And so at least when I was in Dallas, what we did, and every site license was different, because what we were doing was, for a site license, we would divide by the number of exams that were taken. So with 38 high schools, I mean, every campus had a different amount on average for the cost of that exam. But now, from what I'm understanding, they're telling us to go with option 4 on there, which is only $10 or $7, whichever, depending on which site license it is, but like $7 per exam, which is frustrating. I think it's the word that I'll say while we're recording.
I am going to put in the chat that FAQ that talks about reimbursement, and it has a specific formula on there for site license. And so we can certainly talk about it, but you know, that's one of the things they have addressed with an actual formula that you can use that FAQ.
Where's that? Oh.
I had a question, Mark.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Susie and Hayes. This just came up today. I was asked if there's been any more discussion about putting ROTC under CTE.
Well, not to us as far as a legislative priority, but that comes up. I think the San Antonio ISD is a school that's been very interested in trying to make that happen. And if you remember a couple of years ago, the guy who came and made a pitch at conference. And so it hasn't come up yet. We did independently at CTAT, we went on to the enrollment and ran the numbers, and it was like a $66 million addition for, if you take all the ROTC and you add that with weighted funding, it was going to cost 66 million. So I think that if you were to poll everyone in here and you sent out a poll across the state, you would have half that were for it and half against it. And so as long as they give you the funding and an IBC to go along with it for accountability, I think that would be the thing that we're watching. Anybody else's thoughts on ROTC?
I'm for it.
Who said who?
I mean, other states do that. Other states have it under CTE.
Well, now keep in mind, they may have it under CTE, but CTE in other states doesn't necessarily receive weighted funding.
True.
If
I'll take
weighted,
extra weighted funding.
yeah, if weighted funding wasn't tied to it, it wouldn't be an issue. And now you want to have weighted funding and accountability. Oh, you don't want ROTC with no ability to achieve accountability points on it either.
We're adding it ROTC for the first time this year, and I mean I'll be over it, but I worked with it in Round Rock, and it wasn't. I mean, it was kind of in line with the CTE and the academies and fine arts and everything. So I don't know. It'll be part of our programming here.
I think actually, if you did a poll, probably most CTE directors where they have ROTC, they put it underneath the CTE director for supervision, simply because there's no other where, that's just where it kind of falls. It's a matter of, does the legislators, do they want to tie weighted funding to it? One, and do they want to establish an accountability measure for CCMR to go along with it? What do you think, Susie?
I mean, it is a career. I was more or less asked if we could fund their national travel, and I said no, because they're not CTE at this point. But I said, I think every time they have a legislative session, I'm gonna get that out, that they discuss adding it, but it's never actually passed, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, why would, if it's not CTE, you can't fund it any more than you could the chess club.
No, but everybody's broke. So they're like, hey, can CTE pay for this? And I'm like, nope.
You know,
know so much about funding it, but I do think it should be under CTE for accountability, because CCMR, military readiness, that falls completely in line with it. And I would just really appreciate the legislature to recognize that, because if we're trying to prepare kids for college, career, and military, it absolutely should lie in that field.
well, Carrie, the easy fix to that would be just to say if a kid completes ROTC,
Yep.
which is typically 4 years, then they get the accountability point. That's the easy fix.
Correct.
Now, why they don't do that, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, it falls half and half if you just go to asking folks. Some are for it, some are against. If any of you do have legislative ideas or priorities, you can reach out to me or Robin or Tally Joe or anyone that's on that legislative task force, and we'll funnel that through, and we'll have those ideas out again in August. And Robin took the Google form that she sent out for the survey, and there were lots of good ideas in there, and some stuff has actually even already happened, and some stuff was already a priority. So we appreciate you guys filling that out. Robin, would you like to preview any conference stuff before we stop the record?
So this summer marks the 25th anniversary for CTAT. CTAT was incorporated exactly 25 years ago next month. So that's a big deal for this organization. It's a fantastic milestone. We are going to go all out to celebrate. And our president, Tally Joe, has blessed a huge reception. So we need everybody to just prepare to come and enjoy themselves. We are actually doing this offsite in the stockyards. So we've got buses ready to take everybody. They are air-conditioned coaches. And we'll take you to a wonderful, air-conditioned, very cool venue in the stockyards and feed you and provide some cocktails. So we hope everybody is ready to do that. And of course, we would not be able to provide a stellar event such as this without our title sponsor, ICEB. So be sure and thank them when you see them. It's going to be one heck.
All right, fantastic. Well, before we go into the Slack, I'm going to tell everyone on YouTube, thank you so much for being here. And the fact that you share with these guys, these June meetings are usually pretty quick one because everybody's ready to get to conference. Can't wait to see everyone. And it's going to be hot, it looks like, in Fort Worth, but there's going to be a lot to do. And as far as we know, the air conditioner is working in the convention center. So I'm going to hit the stop recording button.